On this week's Intelligence as a Dump Stat, intelligence gets drained talking about level drain. One intelligence conversation's about 1 HP. Night Danger has dangerously idiotic views on IP. Scudder for Mike thinks neutral means evil. And Grim Schneider doesn't know how to read. Or argue. I'm Daniel. Welcome everyone to Driving and Dragons. It's been a fruitful week in the Garden of Stupid, so let's reap what the web has sown for us. As always, hit the like and hype buttons, then share the video if you want to help the channel grow. Subscribe so you don't miss any content, drop a comment to have your voice heard, and consider signing up for Patreon or YouTube membership to help me build a cool car to give away to a TTRPG personality that you nominate. 2 announcements today before we get started. First, I announced my big pulp revival project on my last stream. On my X right now, I'm posting art and polling interest in the stories they come from. Go share the post and encourage your friends to vote, remembering that this project has work from 2 talented artists and 6 authors trying to bring you the kind of stories that we lost along the way. The second announcement is for those members and patrons. I'm going to start a new series here on YouTube where I create adventures from random suggestions. Maybe it's a sentence, maybe it's a picture, maybe it's a song. It can be anything. But it can only be nominated by members or patrons. So I'll start taking suggestions and start writing adventures. Feel free to make them hard. This is about exploring odd adventure ideas to become better GMs. On with the show. A few big brouhahas came out in the OSR space this week, and since we are all sick of people talking past each other on chainmail, I picked 2 others to pick on. Up first is level drain and TTRPGs, early D&D specifically. As a side note, the worst thing X ever did was allow premium members to post short novels on the site. It makes responding a massive pain in the ass when everyone else has to post 45 replies to address your rambling on a site that was built for fast back and forth. But that happens when Lord Mateus, Sandy Peterson, Alexander Williams, and Devin Erickson set in on the topic of level drain effects in D&D. Peterson was shocked it got removed and lamented that he had nothing so terrifying when he made RuneQuest. Mateus pointed out, or Mattias, I can't remember how old Lord Mateus or Mattias says it, he pointed out that it breaks the 4th wall and causes players themselves to suffer fear from the attacks of a deadly undead. But Devin and Alexander dedicated hundreds of words to absolute whining, participation trophy, unimaginative trash opinions. Seriously, I'll spare you the reads. They cry about it being disappointing and tedious to players, say it makes no sense, and that it breaks immersion. That's the sum of their arguments in 1 X post worth of characters. The sum total of their arguments' validity is available in a single word. Stupid. Level drain is no more immersion breaking than having levels to start with. They just don't like it because it distorts the power fantasy. It makes plenty of sense if you have the least bit of imagination. It can represent any number of things that are abstracted. Is it the lazy fog and pseudo-illusionary worlds that some undead in old stories trap unwitting victims in? Is it the abstraction of them sucking the memories and experience out of a victim, as is also often portrayed in old fairy stories? Perhaps it's just the fat octopus witch in Little Mermaid magically draining King Triton's life force. It doesn't break immersion any more than asking for a saving throw, and it certainly isn't hard to make sense in-game. These clowns just can't stand for their precious character sheet to get minuses that they didn't hand-pick to exchange for bonuses elsewhere. The AD&D old-school wars continued between Vanilla Fury and Scudder for Mike. This time, Jack McCarthy posted a meme about rolling 1 for HP on the first level fighter, which prompted Vanilla to reply with a take that's as boring as his namesake flavor. All good GMs start first level with max HP. Scudderfer weighed in and was challenged on the rules, pointed out that Player's Handbook page 19 says you roll all levels. And then Mike M joins Vanilla with the, well, it's stupid anyway, and that's why they changed it non-argument. Here's the issue with absolutism. 99% of the time, you're wrong. Depending on the way the system is set up and the style of game you wish to run, both of these methods of determining HP at level 1 are acceptable. But here's the thing though, Scudderfer is saying that the rules were different, and he's correct. Vanilla and Mike M are just making absolute statements about always giving max HP or else you're a bad GM, which just makes them idiots. Moving away from TTRPGs for a moment, we have Night Danger, who has the infantile proto-libertarian view of intellectual property that anyone who has a functioning intellect has figured out is fatally flawed. IP in the arts is just insane communists trying to maintain control over symbols. No, you moron, it isn't. Copyright allows you to create something without fear that someone with more resources and less talent will simply copy your hard work and ingenuity, thus reaping all the rewards with none of the sacrifice. You get rid of it and creative ventures more or less stop altogether. It's a great way to ensure that the only TTRPG you ever see on a shelf again is Dungeons & Dragons, since no one will risk publishing a small game only to have Wizards of the Coast take it and spread it with no recourse. Trademark prevents brand confusion. It actually works both ways. Let's say I trademark Demons and Dwarves, a fantasy TTRPG. Then WotC makes Demons and Dwarves, uses the same logo, and then pisses the entire world off again. Now my product gets crushed because you can't tell the difference between it and WOTC easily. It also protects your brand from below and not just above. You make a name for yourself, you start building a following, then a dollar store copycat comes out and uses your brand, and your growth stalls. It's called IP protection for a reason. And we all need protection from infantile ideas like IP is evil communism. Our boy Scudderfer Mike makes his second appearance, and this time he whacked his head and that big old brain he was using before fell out, because this take on Druids is dumb. D&D Druids are not tree huggers. Alright, good start. They participate in blood sacrifices and pagan rituals. Maybe, sometimes. And the whole D&D universe is nominally pagan, so clerics do that too. They live in the woods to hide what they are up to and would be put to death in the lands of men. And you lost it. Druids are neutral, dedicated to the natural world and balance between the forces that act on it. Mike's description is in no way in line with any description of the Druid class in any edition of the game. The only thing close is descriptions of specifically evil Druids later on. I swear the dude can quote page number and line to tell you the explicit mechanical rules you want to argue about, but just ignores all the role-playing related text in the same damn book. Last but not least, speaking of ignoring rules, is Grim Schneider. I never read rules and I never will, but if I did, I'd say they're wrong. How does he breathe and type at the same time with this little mental capacity? I'm here to argue about these games, but I just ignore the clear intent and preference of the creators when discussing their creations. Here's the real truth, fellas. Rule 0 is absolutely a thing. But when you debate rules of a game with strangers, the default assumption is always rules as written. If I say the correct hit points at level 1 are rolled, not max, you don't say that's not right because we use max hit points. You can argue all day that your homebrew is superior and can make great cases to support that. Some rules are really faulty when they make contact with real players at a live table. But claiming the other person is wrong because they say this is what the rules explicitly say, and that is different than your Rule 0 change, just makes you an idiot arguing in bad faith. And why are you claiming to play a game if you didn't bother to read the rules? You just admitted that you aren't qualified to determine what game you're playing, because you didn't read the rules, so how do you know? What is determined at this point, however, is my need for a BC headache powder. See you guys next week.